Yo, salute. Yo, yo, yo. Freedom Marcher, Freedom Family, Freedom Lovers, and Freedom Fighters. Snapzilla Gorilla in the building, hitting y'all with another quick live stream because, I'm just very curious about, you know, I'm very curious. I'm very interested in talking about, you know, I'm very interested in talking about what this individual had to say about the drug testing or about VADA, okay, as it relates to Devin Haney. So I'll give you guys a second to get in the building. I just got back to the house. I had some ribeye and a whole chicken on the smoker. I took the ribeyes off. I mean, that thing is good, boy. Took that ribeye off. Waiting on that chicken to finish. I'm pretty sure that's delicious as well. And so in the meantime, I'm going to discuss this real quick. Because this individual, knockoff Pity Pat 69 TV, complains about me taking his words, dissecting every word, and twisting his words, right? I'm twisting his words, I'm lying on him, all this bullshit. When all I'm doing is playing, you guys, what comes out of his own mouth, and I'm just reacting to it. That's all I'm doing, right? Because this shit is crazy as hell. The shit that he's saying is wild, okay? And, it's another one of those narratives that's dangerous for the sport of boxing. And I'll explain that. When people put these narratives out and they have these voices, they have these huge voices. The man almost has 20,000 subscribers. But he feels like he should be able to say anything, which he can because of freedom of speech, but without being held accountable for his words. Yes, you have freedom of speech, but when you put the speech out there for other people to consume, for the public to consume, because you're trying to reach as many people as possible, and you're coming up with these talking points, you're making yourself open to criticism, reactions, and that's just the bottom line to it. Okay? So today we're going to go over his words, not what I said he says. I'm not editing anything. I'm not cutting anything. I'm not splicing and doing all this weird shit that AM Sports Media did with Bill Haney. I'm not doing none of that. I'm going to play this shit all the way through from beginning to end. I might pause it. I might rewind it just so that we can hear exactly what he said. I'm not taking his words and twisting anything. These are the words that are coming out of his own mouth in regards to a narrative he's putting out there. Bottom line, that is what I'm doing. And why am I doing it? Why knock off Pity Pat? Because it's bullshit, right? And it's not good for the sport of boxing. That's what people aren't understanding, right? When we're talking about PEDs in the sport, when we're talking about drug testing to ensure fighters aren't using PEDs, we do not want to diminish the credibility of an organization that has been doing this for years. VADA has been around for years, and it has never been under this level of scrutiny before the fiasco with Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. No one questioned it. Now everybody wants to question VADA. They want to question Snack. They want to question Victor Conti, but they have no evidence to support these narratives. None whatsoever. There has been no evidence of impropriety from VADA or Snack or Victor Conti after Victor Conti went through his thing and got convicted Victor Conte is a convicted felon. Okay? It is what it is. He's a convicted felon. He paid his debt to society. And no one gave a shit that Victor Conte was in the sport of boxing after all these fighters that were on the snack program. Some of whom tried to accuse Victor Conte of tampering with their shit after they popped dirty. After they were no longer with Victor Conte. You understand what I'm saying? There is no evidence of impropriety for any of these organizations. But you know what there's evidence of? There's evidence of fighters popping dirty. But we don't want to talk about that. We want to speculate about fighters who are on snack that may or may not have used PEDs. But you have no evidence of it. No evidence whatsoever. So we're going to get into this, man. Because this is not about my hatred for knockoff pity pat. Because I don't like the dude. He's a piece of shit. He's a sensitive motherfucker who goes around disrespecting other channels to try to lure you into a debate. But if you get on him, if you talk shit about him, he starts whining and bitching and complaining. That's the type of cat he is. But this is not about that. Because I have got on other content creators for pushing false narratives with no basis in fact. I've gotten on AM Sports Media, Boxing No Go, Manager Cooney, Janitor Cooney. I've gotten on all these cats. And I will continue to do so because that's what the fuck I choose to do. These motherfuckers are liars. And they're putting out false narratives. And, you know, we need voices to counter the bullshit. We need voices to counter the bullshit. And I'm lending my voice to countering the bullshit. But if anybody has evidence against what I'm saying, please present it. If there's evidence of impropriety from VADA, if there's evidence of a link between Devin Haney and VADA and them enriching themselves based on what VADA's doing, where's the evidence of it? I'm not talking about fucking speculation. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into this shit.
Brian Norman gets rolled up on by VADA while on vacation. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video. We live Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday night at 7.
Brother Shelton, salute to you.
Live Sunday mornings with Singing OG, KQKC Boxing Network. Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Join the channel as a member. Drop super chats and super thanks when you come by the live streams. Hit me up if you want to debate. Knockoutboxing86.
All right, shut up.
Is the email address. Now tell them to come test you right now. Tweet it out the shit from Bill. Take it how you want. All I know is the Haneys pushed and pressed and pressed. Sign up for VADA right now. Starting testing August 1st is not good enough. Sign up for VADA right now. Tell them to come test you right now. Tell them you're available for testing right now. Went on a full public campaign. You try to handle it behind the scenes and none of that. Tweet it out the shit from Bill.
Okay. This motherfucker said that the Haneys did not try to handle Brian Norman Jr. hitting on VADA immediately behind the scenes. How does he know that? How does he know this? Who told him that? Where does he get this knowledge from? Because from what I'm aware, they did have an understanding. The Norman team had an understanding based on what was in the contract that Brian Norman Jr. would have to sign up for VADA testing immediately. Now, it is not Devin's responsibility to make sure Brian Norman Jr. is aware of the fucking contract he signed. It is Brian Norman's lawyers, his manager, his father, or whatever involvement he has there. Exactly, Shelton, because he said so. That's how knockoff rolls. You understand what I'm talking about? That's how he rolled, because he said so. Because this is where this is pure speculation and conjecture. But he's not going to tell you that, right? He's not going to tell you that. He's going to spin a fairy tale. He's going to spin a conspiracy theory. That's what he's going to do.
Did out the shit from Bill Haney, and then they was on a full-blown mission, just going from channel to channel, platform to platform, VADA. Then Norman gives in, signs up like they asked him to, and then the minute that he
Norman gives in. No. Norman did the shit he was supposed to do in the first fucking place. Everybody knew that if you're going to fight Devin Haney, you would have to sign up for VADA testing as soon as you sign the fucking contract. He didn't give in. He handled his responsibilities as a man and as a boxer who signed the contract and who wanted to make that money. Okay? So, I don't know why do we need to have further discussion? Brian Norman Jr., according to him, gave in. Okay, so why are we still talking about this? Why? Because the Devin Haney hate is real, and Devin Haney hate is very lucrative. This is why.
They run down on his ass. Shit's supposed to be random is what I'm saying. That shit don't. Then Norman gives in, signs up like they asked him to, and then the minute that he signs up, they run down on his ass. Shit's supposed to be random is what I'm saying. That shit don't seem too.
Okay, so he said that as soon as Brian Norman Jr. signed up with VADA, the minute he did that, they ran up on him. How do you know this? When did they run up on Brian Norman Jr.? The day he signed? The next day? 2 days later? 3 days later? 4 days later? I haven't seen it. This is my first time hearing that they actually tested him already. They ran down on him immediately? But you're saying it's supposed to be random. Okay. As soon as he signed up, they decided, all right, we're going to test him in the very near future. That doesn't mean it's not random. It's random to Brian Norman Jr. You understand what I'm talking about? It's not random to VADA. VADA can set a schedule. They can say, you know what, we're going to test this day, that day, this. It's random for Brian Norman Jr. It's not random for VADA. It's random for Brian Norman Jr. so he doesn't have an opportunity to time the testing with the cycle if he's on that shit. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying if a fighter or if a competitor is on PEDs, if there's a possibility, you don't want them to know can pop up. That doesn't mean that the organization doesn't know when they're going to pop up. That means the fighter or the competitor doesn't know. Okay, it's random for Brian Norman Jr. So even if it's not random to VADA, even if VADA said, you know what, as soon as he signed his contract, we flying out there the next day and we're gonna collect the sample. That's random to Brian Norman Jr. It's still random. How is it not random any longer? That's my question.
And that shit don't seem too random to me.
No one cares.
The Haneys look like they are goddamn. They might as well. Is VADA a publicly traded company? We need to find out if they invested in VADA or some shit, because they just running the commercial VADA. And then when you
EM12, if you don't care, why are you here? You obviously care enough to click on my live stream and see what I'm talking about. So, my question is, why do you care, EM12? Anyway, so, he says, oh, we need to know if the Haneys are invested in VADA because they're running a commercial, VADA. What other testing organizations are you aware of, knockoff pity pat, that fighters can go ahead and sign up to test with? Name like 2 or 3. Name 2 or 3. So let's say Devin was invested in VADA. What would that matter? Does that point is that evidence of impropriety because Devin is signed up with VADA? Is that evidence of impropriety? Does that mean that there is some conniving and skullduggery going on because VADA isn't being invested by, or fighters are investing in VADA, that does not automatically mean that there's evidence of impropriety from Devin or VADA. Motown 909, salute to you. He said, I didn't click. Okay. Shelton got rid of him. Shelton knows the rules. The rules of timing people out and the rules of blocking people is if they spam, if they appear to be a bot, and if they say things like, why am I here? Or no one cares, or this, that, and third. If you're complaining about what I'm saying and you're wondering why you're here and wondering why I care and all this, that means you obviously don't want to be here. So we're going to escort you out. So that's Shelton knows the deal. For no other reason do we block or time people out. I believe in free speech. But coming up here complaining about not caring about what I'm saying and why are you here, that's not free speech. You're just running your mouth, right? So anyway, Brother Reef, salute to you. All right, so, but why ask the question, is Devin Haney invested in VADA? Simply because Devin wants, just because Devin is signed up for 365 24/7 testing, and he wants the fighters that he fights against to sign up for VADA, that does not mean that he's an investor. And if he was an investor, that does not mean that that's not proof of impropriety. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, there needs to be more than that.
And then when you already consider the relationship that they have with Victor Conte, with the relationship that he has with VADA, shit ain't looking right.
What relationship does Devin have with Victor Conte? Tell us about the relationship. Because from what I understand, there are a number of fighters that are snack fighters that have a certain level of relationship with Victor Conte. But you're not accusing them of any level of impropriety. You're not asking those fighters if they are an investor in VADA or snack. You're not asking those questions. You're just asking about Devin. Because Devin wanted Brian Norman Jr. to sign up for VADA testing immediately. And Brian Norman Jr. just so happened to get tested. That's what happens when you sign up for testing. You're going to get tested, whether you like it or not, randomly to you during the course of time you sign up for it. Bottom line to it.
Bro, that's why I tell y'all all the time, like, when you hang around certain stuff, you can't get mad that conversations like this come up. They could have chose any nutritional program that they wanted. They chose a nutritional program of Victor Conte. Nobody made him go out there and say.
Now he's talking about the Haneys choosing Victor Conte's program. What does that have to do with VADA randomly testing Brian Norman Jr.? And so now fighters aren't allowed to sign up for Victor Conte's program? Like, do you understand the level of scrutiny that Victor Conte is under and snack? You don't think the products get tested? You don't think they take samples from these lot numbers and test everything? Why Victor Conte's program? Brother Hudson, Coach Hudson, salute to you, man. Salute to Coach Hudson. Go ahead, drop your link in the chat for those who don't have aren't subscribed to you, man. Y'all subscribe to Coach Hudson. But answer the question. I mean, what are we talking about? Jay Cool says he's saying if you work with Conte, you can't be mad that people have suspicions. It's not about being mad about people having suspicions. It's about what are the suspicions based upon? What foundation are these? On what foundation are these suspicions based? And if you have suspicions, why aren't you voicing these suspicions for every fighter working with Victor Conte? Why Devin? See, because the problem is not the suspicions, it's the inconsistency of the suspicions based on who the fighter is. That's where the problem comes in. Coach Hudson says, how come they didn't have these suspicions with Mikey Garcia, Bam Bam, or Mario Barrios? Because they don't care about those fighters. They don't hate those fighters. They hate Devin. They want Devin out of the sport of boxing. They want Devin to get hurt. They want Devin to be knocked out and possibly killed by a PED user. So they don't want Devin to do his due diligence and ensure that the fighters he faces are fucking clean. Bottom line to it. That's the only conclusion I can draw based on this obsession with Devin, Victor Conte, and VADA. This obsession did not appear until Ryan Garcia popped 30. No one was talking about snack like that. Not really. You had Buzz head about it, but there was no steam behind it, right? Because even then, even when people were suspecting Bud, no one had any evidence, right? No one got other fighters, like Coach Hudson said, and like BFB says. No one cares. No one cares about these other fighters on Snack. No one is talking about Clarissa Shields being on Snack. No one is talking about any of that shit. It's only because Devin signed up for 365 24/7, and he wants his opponents to sign up with VADA. That's the reason. Present another drug testing agency. Present another one. This is wild and out of control, y'all.
Made him go out there and say Devin Haney was his favorite. Nobody made him say that I can circumvent the drug test. I can be.
So, okay. Does anybody remember Victor Conte saying that Devin Haney is his favorite? When did he say that? I sound choppy? Hold on. Let me. Is that better? Man. Is that better, y'all? So, y'all put Romeo Lima Charlie in the chat. Or in the chat if y'all can hear me. Okay. Not better? Hey, hold on. I gotta move around a little bit. Damn, it's buffering now? Insidious. Might have to reset, huh? Can y'all hear me okay now? Hold on, y'all. I'm good now? Okay, cool. Okay, he said, when did Victor Conte say that Devin was his favorite? Did anybody else hear that? Anybody else? I mean, I've never heard that before. This is my first time hearing it. I mean, he might have said it. I just questioned, when did he say that? And even if Victor Conte said that, what does that, so what? Oh, my fan is hot than a big dog out here. I turned the fan down. Is that better? Hold on, I might have to turn the fan. Let's see. Is that better? So, we're getting there. Hold on. I might have to, we're climbed. I might have to. Oh, let me. All right, hold on. Trying to. I might have to. I might have to go in my garage, but to get on the Wi-Fi. But it's hot than a big dog, man. I sound okay now? My bad, y'all. Yeah, so now what we're talking about is this man is accusing Devin, accusing the Haneys of having some type of control over VADA. Because Brian Norman Jr. signed up and got tested. When Brian Norman Jr. signed up for VADA testing, he got tested. So therefore, Devin Haney has control of VADA and is making VADA test Brian Norman Jr. whenever he feels like it. That's basically what this man is saying. Salute to KKK Funny World. Okay, how you doing, man? Interesting name. Let me know if y'all can hear me okay.
Have with Victor Country with the relationship that he has with VADA, shit ain't looking right, bro. That's why I tell y'all all the time, like, when you hang around certain stuff, you can't get mad that conversations like this come up. They could have chose any nutritional program that they wanted. They chose the nutritional program. Nobody made him go out there and say Devin Haney was his favorite. Nobody made him say that I can circumvent the drug test. I can beat any drug test. Nobody made him make the decision to be a PED peddler earlier.
Now, Victor Conte said that he can beat the drug test. So what? So what? What does that mean? You're accusing Devin of being in control of VADA because he worked with Snack and because Victor Conte at one point in time had a particular relationship with VADA. That's what you're saying. All these things are barely even correlations, right? None of this is evidence, again, right? He presents zero facts of zero evidence to point him in the direction of Devin Haney having any conflict of interest with VADA, having any control over VADA, investing in VADA. There is no evidence of any of that. But these people, they can't even tell you who else can do the testing in the sport of boxing, professional boxing. They can't tell you that. Not even a little bit. See, cool, salute to you. Jay Brumfield says, Devin represents so many things. The first father and son team that does everything and to be black. Yeah, I mean, and they hate that. See, the problem is that Knockoff Pity Pat's favorite fighter ain't really doing shit in the sport of boxing, right? He was getting away with his model for a while. You know, put flat-footed fighters in front of me, I'll knock him the fuck out. And I'll continue that, and then I'll grab a belt, you know, here and there and pretend like I want to build a legacy, but I really don't give a shit about a belt. I really don't give a shit about challenging myself against other elite fighters. I'm just going to act like I'm elite and want to be treated like an elite fighter without doing the work. Devin's doing the work. So, Knockoff Pity Pat hitched his way to a guy named like Tonka Truck, and Tonka Truck can't even secure a fight right now. He doesn't even know if he's going to be a free individual in the next few months. Brother Reed says, damn, shaking my head. He's just making things up. Yes. He's pulling shit out of his ass to try to make connections. It's crazy. Siku says he not said anything about Canelo team who had 7 boxers who popped dirty. I haven't seen anything from him about that. now that you talk about it, here, let me let him talk.
Earlier in his life, bro. And no one told VADA that he had to be the one that they were in such a close relationship with. And this happens that after all of this back and forth and all of this stuff, the Haneys get exactly what they wanted. We wanted him to be tested while on vacation, and VADA went and did exactly what they wanted to do, bro.
Whoa, wait. Did you hear what he just said? Drew Titan, salute to you, brother. Salute to Drew Titan in the building, y'all. Hold on, man. This man said that the Haneys said that. Hold on. What's up, little girl?
Where's the parting comb?
With the parting comb? AKA my beard comb? It's right here.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I guess we need more parting combs. This man said that the Haneys wanted Brian Norman Jr. tested while on vacation. That's what he said, the Haney said. Hold on, man.
Back and forth and all of this stuff, the Haneys get exactly what they wanted. We wanted him to be tested while on vacation, and VADA went and did exactly what they wanted.
When did the Haneys say that? When did the Haneys say that? This is what happened. The Haneys said, why ain't you signing up for VADA right now? Right? You supposed to be signed up for VADA. The Normans said, well, can we wait till August 1st? I'm on vacation. They said, no. You're going to sign up right now or there's no fight. They never said, we want you tested while on vacation. They said they didn't give a fuck if you was on vacation or not. You see how the twisting and the, right? Where did he get this? Where did he get that from? I never heard them say that. Jay Brumfield said Tank beating on women to duck out of fights. I don't know why he's allegedly beating on women, but he keeps putting himself in these positions where his professional boxing career is on the line. Like, he's no longer really going to have one if he continues down this path. Not the career he wants. If he gets stripped, if he gets forced to be a champion in recess, or whatever the case may be, he's not going to want to be like, you know, he's not going to want to be the type of fighter where he's not looked at as one of the top dogs at 135. He's not going to want to fight that way because it brings down his value in his mind. Like, I'm not about to be a non-champion, you know what I'm saying? And I have to work my way up. He doesn't want to work his way up. He doesn't want to challenge himself. He wants to be right where he's at. A WBA champion, not interested in unifying, not interested in moving up and challenging himself in another weight class. He just wants to stay there and fight cats that aren't on his level in people's minds. That's what he wants to do. And so what that means is that if that gets taken away from him because of this legal shit, he's going to crash out because he's more interested in being admired and adored by fans for not doing shit. Jake Brumfield said Tank Baby Mama had a restraining order against him, so I don't know why they were together anyway. Shit is wild, man. That's a great question. I have no idea. I mean, again, like, he's not focused on boxing. He's not focused on boxing. He doesn't want to have to be focused on boxing. He wants to continue to fight without having to be focused and continue to get millions and millions of dollars. That's not how this shit works. It's not going to work like that. It's not going to work like that. It's not going to work like that with Turkey coming through. It's not working like that with Amazon. The PBC does not have the upper hand or leverage over any what they call a broadcasting company. He just does not. So, you know, these cats, they are lashing out because Devin is moving on to bigger and better things without Tonka Truck. And, you know, they thought that Devin needed Tonka Truck for his career. No, Devin doesn't need him. He just wanted him because Tank was supposed to be the man at 135. Tank was the man at 130. You know, he was a man at 126 in people's minds, but he really did not do much, right? So Devin he was like, okay, they think Tonka Truck is that dude at 135. I want him. I want to fight him. Hey, Tank, you know that your Devin's mandatory. Oh, that was the email belt. What he do? What he do to get that belt? Right? I mean, it's been like that for years. J-Man says Tank is deriding groupies. Cam get out of boxing. Carmel replacing Tank over there at the PBC anyway. Well, you know, yeah. But we know Tonka Truck is hating on Carmel as well. So this is really what this is about. This is a huge crash out by Tonka Truck fans, some Shakur fans, because Devin is actually putting himself through more fires. And everybody thinks that, you know, Brian Norman Jr. is going to knock Devin out. And regardless of whether he does knock Devin out, they understand that ultimately, when you look years down the road, when all these fans go away, they know that Devin is going to be looked at as a legend who put himself on the line to bring the best fights. And they know Tonka Truck is not going to be up there. He's just not. And so they mad. So they're trying to find every way to undermine this fight.
Exactly what they wanted to do, bro. What they wanted him to do. Shit seems fishy to me.
Well, Devin is the A side. Yes. Devin's the A side. You want to fight me? You want these millions of dollars that you're not going to get fighting anybody else in your division or around your division? Because Turkey's not going to pay for that? Well, guess what? You're going to sign up for VADA testing as soon as I want you to. Who this brother Freedom's bullying now? I'm not bullying nobody. I am showing you guys, I am bringing you the words from these individuals out of their own mouths. And I am talking about what they're saying. They're saying it themselves. I'm not bullying anybody. I am talking about the things that he's saying. Right? I am going against what he's saying, his stance, his narratives. That's not bullying. I'm bringing my own position against his. Devin has created something seen before with no obstacles to make fights. Yes. And speaking of obstacles, he's going to get into obstacles in a minute. Well, not really obstacles.
Some favoritism going on.
Favoritism. Is it favoritism or is Devin controlling VADA? Which one is it? Favoritism? Favoritism? Devin is the A side. Yes. So in terms of who has the leverage in this fight coming up, I guess you could say there is favoritism because Devin is the A side. Yes. That's how you want it with Tank, right? You want everything to go Tank's way for people to fight him. If Devin want to fight him, it got to go Tank's way. If Shakur fight him, you got to do what Tank wants. If Ryan Garcia wants to fight Tank, you got to do it Tank's way. That would make it basically favoritism because Tank has the leverage over these guys. Not for too much longer. But Devin is the A side. So yes, right? Devin wants Brian Norman Jr. to sign up for VADA testing. How is that favoritism? Because VADA is actually testing the fighters that sign up for it. Country Boy Boxing says, the bottom line, everybody has an opinion, and speculation is opinion. You are doing a lot of speculating. But that's your... How am I speculating? I'm speaking on this man speculating. What? What am I speculating about? Answer me that question. The aircraft carrier says, I'm not a Devin fan, but I do believe he's a superior boxer and better fundamentals and will prevail versus Brian Norman Jr. I do as well. I agree with that. J-Man says, it was cool when everything was in Tank favor. Exactly. C. Cool says, they just wanted him to sign up, and that still might not get tested. That's all they wanted. They wanted Brian Norman Jr. decided for VADA testing. So what if Brian Norman Jr. got tested while on vacation? When you sign up for VADA testing, you are signing up to get tested whenever they want to test you. Morning, noon, or night, hell, cedar, snow, whether you in the goddamn Maldives or you in Antarctica, they gonna go where you at and they gonna test you. This is what he signed up for. Man, goddamn, bro.
Nonetheless, Brian Norman Jr. got tested. To my knowledge, ain't never came back yet. So shouldn't be any excuses, bro. I just hope there's no more demands. I just hope something else don't come up.
No more demands. They already signed the contract. They signed the contract. They have a fight card. They have a fight date. There are what more demands could be made that have nothing to do with the contract? They signed the contract. So whatever demands were made are in the contract from either side. So why would there be more demands that the Normans shouldn't already be aware of as per the contract?
Next thing you know, they're gonna be like, yo, the ring too big. Yo, the gloves, he need to wear heavier gloves than we do. Like, just...
He's just being dramatic. I'm not even gonna get on. I'm not even gonna dignify that stupid shit he just said with a response, man. Really? Bigger gloves, heavier gloves in a ring size. Okay. C Cool says some PEDs you can. .007 Kevin, Troll Slayer, salute. My bad, y'all. I should have just did this shit from the. Listen. Sorry, my phone got overheated. They said my phone said it was overheated, so it shut the shit down. And yeah, I had to wait for it to cool down. I had to put it in my garage freezer. The bottom line is this, and then I'm gonna get off of this thing. I'm gonna just say this right now, and I'll end this live stream, and then we can move on. But Jay Brumfield, salute to you, man. He dropped $5 in the super chat, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the support for sure. Sean Porter, F things up in OK Head. If VADA tests Brian, now Haneys made a call because VADA never tested me when I was. That's crazy, man. Wow. That's what Sean Porter said? Man, I gotta look that up. That's crazy. That is nuts. But none of these people that are claiming that there may be impropriety, but what's up, baby girl? Oh, you want to hug me? Oh. Okay. None of these individuals that are claiming that there may be impropriety with VADA, with Snack, with Devin Haney in these relationships that they're talking about, there's no evidence of any wrongdoing. There's no evidence of any foul play. And this has only been an issue since Devin versus Ryan Garcia. And Devin wanted Ryan Garcia held accountable for being a PD user. Because Devin wanted him held accountable, because Devin wouldn't just take the L when Ryan Garcia popped dirty. That's what they mad about. They mad Devin still has an O on his record. Devin didn't care he had an O on his record. Devin cared that there was drug cheating going on. And the New York State Athletic Commission made a decision. They said, okay, we're going to reverse that to a no contest. You no longer have an L. That's what they're mad about. So now all of a sudden, VADA's corrupt, Snack is corrupt, Devin is corrupt, and they're all in cahoots. They're all in cahoots to make it appear as though these fighters are drug cheats. Now Brian Norman is a victim of Devin Haney, and I guess Devin Haney is a mob boss, right? Because you're talking about RICO level bullshit. Salute to brother Drew Titan, man. He dropped the $5 super chat, man. I appreciate that as well, man. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate that. Devin is now a mafia boss. Okay, that's what. Oh, and no, yeah. So Devin is the boss. Victor Conte is an underboss, and Bill Haney is his consigliere. Devin Haney is using VADA to fake positive drug test results. But what about WADA then? WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, who actually does the testing. VADA just provides the delivery system. They facilitate the testing, right? They facilitate the testing and they tell WADA what is allowed and not allowed, right? What they're testing for, what to look out for. It just so happens that VADA tests and they restrict way more performance-enhancing drugs than any other testing agency. And that's why Devin wanted to use them. That's why many fighters wanted to use them, including Nonito Donaire, right? Nonito Donaire. They were the first really in boxing to use VADA. Floyd Mayweather wanted Olympic-style testing with the USADA. With USADA. Well, USADA no longer tests professional fighters. They test, they test amateur fighters and they test Olympian fighters. So what are fighters supposed to use now? Who are they supposed to use now? I think Alicia Baumgardner used a different testing agency. I forgot what the name was. But, okay, so let's say they use them. Should Devin use them? So does it matter which testing agency Devin uses? Are you still going to be okay with it? Are you going to be okay if Devin uses a different testing agency? Or is that testing agency also going to be corrupt and ran by Devin? Now Devin runs VADA. Devin gets to pick and choose when his opponents get tested now. That's what we're to believe from all this speculative bullshit. 007 Kevin says WADA and VADA yada yada. that is pretty funny, 007. That he said WADA and VADA yada yada nada. That's funny. I like that. I actually like that. You probably trolling, but I like that. So help me understand. Like, what are we supposed to do now? Should there not be testing? Should there not be testing until Devin leaves the sport and then we can start testing again? You guys can trust the testing agencies? Or should there, maybe there should never be testing again because Devin wants testing. Devin wants testing, there shouldn't be testing because Devin is corrupt. Devin is going to pay any testing agency to contaminate, to do random tests at his will. What are we talking about? Where is all this vehement? Where is all this vehement opposition to Jaime Munguia? Jaime Munguia testing positive for testosterone, and 6 other fighters in Eddie Reynoso's camp. Where is the outrage for that? Where is the speculation? Where is all the dot connecting? Where are the conspiracy theories surrounding that? I went through videos of certain individuals, including Knockoff Pity Pat and Manager Cooney. None of these guys talked about the Eddie Reynoso situation. They didn't dedicate whole videos, as far as I know. No names in the titles. They didn't have Eddie Reynoso's name in the title. No one talked about that, as far as what I see. If y'all seen it, please let me know. And I will say, okay, I'm wrong. They did talk about it. Where are the calls for investigations into the Eddie Reynoso camp, where there is actual evidence of his fighters popping dirty? No. What we got to talk about is Devin, running a criminal organization involving testing agencies bending to his will. That's what we're talking about. But of course, this guy's going to complain and say that I'm twisting his words and I'm lying about him. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. He won't hold himself accountable for his own words. No, it's going to be about me lying on him and twisting his own words. The words that I played for y'all without any editing. No editing. I just played you what he said on his own video. Jay Brumfield says they down only black fighters. At this point, I don't know what the criteria is to be hated on in the sport of boxing. Right now, it just seems like, oh, you just got to be Devin Haney. Freedom's March. I'm friends with Trill and Benny Loco. Was just making. Oh no, yeah, I know you was joking. It was funny to me. It was funny. Wada vada yada 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 nada. I like that. I appreciated it. I'm not tripping. Yeah, I'm not tripping on that. But I mean, the shit is crazy. But the reason it's important to highlight this is because this affects the sport in a negative way. So you got guys like Knockoff Pity Pat pushing this narrative. Not just him. You got Sean Porter, Tim McCoon Bradley, all these other guys bringing unnecessary and undue suspicion to these testing agencies that are trying to keep the sport clean. And what does that do? That builds resistance to these testing agencies from fighters and fighters' fans. It gives the fighters, it gives them an out. It gives them a way to push back against testing. See, there are ramifications beyond just espousing bullshit in a video. You're espousing bullshit in a video to attract views and to build controversy. But you're not thinking about the long-term ramifications that this could cause. Lolly, no one tested positive, okay? As far as I know. As far as I know, Brian Norman Jr. nor Devin tested positive. The bottom line is, if Brian Norman Jr. does test positive, he said that there may be some level of corruption if he tests positive. And now, Knockoff Pity Pat is pushing that narrative and saying that Devin may be in control and and is a favorite. They're doing favoritism for Devin Haney. Right? So let's move the narrative forward and bring distrust to a testing agency that's trying to keep the sport clean. And to a fighter that is trying to keep the sport clean, that has been signed up for VADA testing 365 24/7. Oh, but no, he's just doing that to advertise for VADA. He's just trying to help VADA make money so he can get a piece. Where's the evidence of this shit? There are none. Y'all just want to discredit Devin because y'all hate him. I see the game. C. Cool says, I just see Fanon say that Crawford was cheating with no evidence. That's what they do now. GLTZZ, how corrupt is our government? Very corrupt. Extremely corrupt. It can't not be corrupt. The government can't not be corrupt. But I'll touch on that tomorrow during the morning paper at around 6 o'clock in the morning. Around 6 a.m. tomorrow, we'll get into more government corruption and more government bullshit that I can highlight. Every day I'm able to talk about something the government has done to show you guys how important freedom is, how important individual freedom is. And remember, individual freedom is not comfortable. It's not safe. It's not fairies and rainbows. It's uncomfortable. It's dangerous. It's uncertain. It's unsure. Right? That's just what it is. But at least it's freedom. Right? But guess what? Government control, it's not safe. And the comfort that you feel, well, it's an illusion. Right? At least with freedom, you know where the danger is and how dangerous it could be. You know that you're on your own. You know that no one's going to come save you. You know that no one is going to feed you. You have to feed yourself. But guess what? In feeding yourself and providing for yourself, that is all you. That you are rewarded for your own actions and your own merit. You don't have to give up a piece to the government. Stormy B Man, he says, "Yo, how long you been on? What's the title?" I've been on for almost an hour, and the title is about knockout, pushing a narrative that Devin Haney is basically controlling VADA, right? That there's some impropriety going on between VADA and Devin Haney, and that's why Brian Norman Jr. got tested almost immediately. It's just, it's just. Yeah, that's what the title is. I don't remember exactly what the title says, but this is what this is about. It's about somebody pushing a narrative that Devin is in control of VADA, basically, and he's basically asking, does Devin have investments in VADA, and is Devin invested in VADA, and it's a commercial, and Devin is experiencing favoritism for VADA, and I think he even said, does Devin have some level of control over VADA, and like VADA? Basically said, what did he say? It's just bullshit with no evidence, right? And that's what I talk about. I said he's espousing all this with zero evidence. It's all speculation. It's all just basically, he says, does Devin Haney have VADA in his pocket for the Brian Norman Jr. fight? And I played some of the things he said out of his own mouth. And so I'm just trying to counter the narrative that is very dangerous for the sport of boxing. Because it's very dangerous for the sport of boxing to sow distrust in VADA, to sow distrust in Victor Conte, and try to force connections that aren't there, that there are no evidence of. And what this does is create distrust in the sport of boxing in a testing agency that's trying to keep the sport clean. Right? And it gives fighters that want to be dirty, it gives them a way to push this narrative, right? And so what ends up happening? Well, the next thing you know, there won't be any testing agency, or it'll be a testing agency that'll test you during certain hours and certain days, and it's a scheduled testing, right? Which gives fighters a better opportunity to cycle. I see the long game. The long game behind pushing this bullshit is that the random testing can end up going bye-bye because there will be so much resistance from the fighters, because people are pushing this bullshit that Devin is corrupt and VADA is corrupt. Victor Conte is connected to VADA, and Victor Conte is connected to Devin, and Devin is connected to VADA, and Victor Conte. So therefore, there's all this corruption. And so no one should trust VADA. It's dangerous for all fighters. So that's all I'm talking about. But anyway, y'all, Jonathan Simon says, blessings, salute to you. Jay Brumfield says, these robots are taking over jobs. The Terminator movie is real. Yes, and not only the Terminator movie, but Demolition Man, one of my favorite movies ever. Demolition Man. Y'all check that out. We're heading towards Demolition Man society. Exactly, Shelton. VADA just collect the samples. Yes, hating on the Devin pushes the needle. But see, that's all they care about, is pushing the needle, moving the needle. They don't care about the ramifications later on down the road. They don't care about the implications beyond what they're saying, right? They don't care about none of that. All they care about is, oh, well, I hate Devin Haney. It's lucrative to hate on Devin Haney, so I'm going to weave a story. I'm going to weave a conspiracy theory so that people can flock to my channel and join in on the Devin Haney hate. But the detriment goes beyond that. The consequences go beyond that. So it's like they don't understand the level of influence they have in the sport of boxing, or they just don't care, right? So it's either ignorance or it's intellectual dishonesty. I'm going with intellectual dishonesty myself. Anyway, Jonathan Simon says, was Ryan Garcia tested for the fight with Tank Davis? Yes, he was. And it was VADA testing. Guess who insisted? Tonka Truck insisted Ryan Garcia sign up for VADA testing. And no one called Tonka Truck Davis corrupt. No one accused Tonka Truck Davis of having VADA in his back pocket. And Tank made those demands of Ryan Garcia. Insisted. He accused Ryan Garcia of being on PEDs before they even signed up to fight. So he said, you know what, I think you're on PEDs. So I'm going to make sure you sign up for VADA testing. But no one cared about that. They thought it was a great thing. They thought it was smart. They thought, hey, man, Tonka Truck is looking out for himself. He's taking the proper steps. But Devin can't do that. Anyway, y'all, I'm going to get out of here. I got to get this bird off the grill so that my children can eat. And, yeah. Yes, all of a sudden he has a problem about it after his fight with Devin. Straight bullshit. Anyway, much love, y'all. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for everybody who dropped the super chat. I really appreciate that. Shelton, thank you for coming through. Jonathan Simon, Stormy B Man, Drew Titan, C Cool, Jay Bumfield, Lolly, all you guys. 007 Kevin, all you guys, man. The aircraft carrier, J Man, salute to you, came through. I really appreciate you guys. Much love, like, share, subscribe. And yeah, we're going to keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace. And truth.